No joke, this is probably my best opportunity to be a wide receiver for the Packers. Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to an episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. There's just one really big glaring need for the Packers, Grossi, and today, as we start pivot into draft season here on the channel, it's always appropriate to start off with the top 5 needs in the draft for the Packers, what positions they're probably going to be targeting as they need to fill some gaps. Now, I will say, heading into this draft, besides the blatant need at wide receiver, there are not as many holes in the Green Bay Packers on offense or defense. So a lot of this stuff is going to come down to depth or areas in which I would love to see them get, a better player at that position, whether to help out an all-star that's already there or just to provide some depth in case someone gets injured. So my honorable mentions here before we get into the top 5, you got a slot corner. Obviously, we brought back Rasul Douglas, and that's fantastic. On top of that, you do have Eric Stokes go fast. He was phenomenal. And Jair Alexander can play all over the field. However, getting a true slot corner could potentially take Joe Barry's secondary to the next level, so that is on the table. On top of that, tight end. And the thing with tight end is there's some question marks there. We brought back Robert Tonyan coming off a major injury. You still have the big dog Mercedes Lewis. You still have guys like Dominique Daphne. And of course, you have Josiah DeGuara. Now, I will say the Packers have invested a lot of draft capital in tight end, and we're kind of still waiting for that to pan out. Whether it is with Jay Sternberger for a 3rd-round pick who's no longer on the team, or a 3rd-round pick with Josiah DeGuara, who really is just trying to find his place in the offense. But again, tight end is one of the most difficult positions to transition from college to the pros. So those would be my honorable mentions. So to start off this list at number 5, I think one of the needs of the Green Bay Packers is going to be an outside linebacker or an edge rusher. And here's why. You have Preston Smith, who got extended. Looks like he's going to finish off his career with the Green Bay Packers. That's fantastic. You have a young, phenomenal player in Rashawn Gary, who has just gotten better and better as the years have gone on, really panning out well. And those two guys together, great. Wonderful. You saw what they were able to do last year, getting pressures on the quarterback, and I love absolutely all of that. Here's the thing. There is no more Zadarius Smith. Yes, he barely played last season, so you're not really going to notice a whole lot. But besides those two guys, that position is a bit thin, and you can never have enough edge rushers. So you do have Jonathan Garvin, you have Tipa there for depth, but I think you might see the Packers actually spend a day 2 or even a day 1 pick on the edge position, and I don't think it would be the worst pick. Now, the Packers usually are the best player available type of team, which they let the draft just fall to them, even though I think that's going to be a little bit different this year, and I'm going to talk about this tomorrow, talking about if the Packers should trade up or they should trade back. But here, I think it would just be great to get another body there. I wouldn't be surprised if they'd spend a day 3 pick on this either, just to get some depth, because it isn't the most glaring need for the Packers. But if you have a guy like Preston Smith or Rashawn Gary unfortunately go down, you're kind of in trouble at that position. Number 4, it's always the O-line. It's always the O-line. And here's the thing. The Packers should be getting healthier at that position. David Bakhtiari should be back. Elton Jenkins should be back. Coming off major injuries, and hopefully they can return to form. You got Runyon, you got Newman on the inside. The thing is going to be who is going to play right tackle. Are you going to move Jenkins over there, or are you going to put him back at guard, where arguably he is at his best, even though honestly Elton Jenkins can play every single position on that line. The Packers have done an amazing job of building that offensive line and finding talent deep in the draft. I don't think they're going to spend one of their 1st-round picks on an O-lineman, but don't be terribly surprised if you start creeping into the 3rd round and the Packers start trying to get some depth there. Number 3, you got the safety position. And you might be saying, whoa, Tom, we got Adrian Amos, we got Darnell Savage, and I go, I agree. And we have some depth at strong safety, but free safety, not all the depth that's there in the world. I think this secondary is going to be very good. However, we also need to see Darnell Savage get better, in which he's had his ups and downs, and I think an absolutely perfect pick here would be to get one of those hybrid guys who can play safety and who also can play corner. That would be the best of both worlds, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Packers spend either one of their day 1 or day 2 picks on a safety. I think with an already really good secondary, adding a great safety would just put that defense over the top, and I don't see how they could go wrong here. Number 2, this has been on the list for a number of years, and that's on the D-line. Now, the Packers, they did address this. They brought in Jaron Reed, which I think is a good pickup. It's a good signing. However, we need to get Kenny Clark some help on that line. Dean Lowry hasn't been playing too badly, and that's great, but I have wanted for years for the Packers to spend a premium position on the D-line and just make that pass rush so much better. Forget edge rushers and outside linebackers. If you are able to get a guy of Kenny Clark's strength and talent on that line and get to pair him next to Kenny Clark, it's going to be real difficult to stop us. You look at some of the best defenses in the league, and they're able to rush with 4 guys and get after the quarterback. Aaron Rodgers has spoke about this a million times, and you look at like a team like the 49ers who are able to do that, and look what they did to the Packers in the playoffs. I would love for them to spend either one of their first round or their second round picks on a big defensive lineman and just make that pass rush even better. And finally, number 1, the most obvious number 1 is wide receiver. Yep. Here's the thing. Davante Adams didn't want to be on the team anymore. Fine. We got first round pick and a second round pick. Not the worst thing in the world. And it really has opened up opportunities for the Packers to really rebuild that wide receiver room. And now here's the thing. We got Juwan Winfrey, we got Randall Cobb, we have Alan Lazard, and we have Amari Rodgers. And Amari Rodgers, a lot of people crapping on Amari Rodgers, but you got to hope that he improves. He was a third round pick, which I know the Packers haven't had a lot of success with third round picks. But if Amari Rodgers can improve, I think that we're not in as much of a dire situation as some would lead you to believe. Now, I will also say that Matt LaFleur's offense doesn't really function well when Aaron Rodgers has to force the ball to just one wide receiver. I think it's much better when he can spread the ball around, but losing guys like MVS and Davante Adams are not going to help the Green Bay Packers. However, now it allows Matt LaFleur to go, okay, I have so many premium picks, let me go after guys that I want for this offense that are going to fit in very well, and I hope they stop going with role players. I want them to go after those wide receivers who can do it all. You need somebody with a whole bunch of speed. And they're not done in free agency. They might decide to go after and bring some guys in. But where this wide receiver room is going to be rebuilt is going to be in the draft. So it doesn't make sense to go and give someone a lucrative contract, like a DK Metcalf, for example. If you trade one of those premium picks, sure, but then you're going to have to give them a massive contract. And the Packers, with the amount of cap trouble that they're going to be in the next couple of years, it needs to be rebuilt here. Get young, premium talent that you're able to develop for cheap, and then in 4 or 5 years, you worry about their extension. But the Packers definitely need to find someone that either can be a Davante Adams and do it all and has that speed, or they need to draft multiple, which I think they will, multiple guys that bring a lot to the table. And the Packers are in a great position to do that. And so I'm excited to see if they draft a receiver in the first round, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do it in the second round too. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. What do you think are the top 5 needs for the Green Bay Packers coming into the 2022 NFL Draft? Let me know. You guys tell me at TomGrossiComedy.com or at TomGrossiComedy, all social media, see down below. Check out podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and of course YouTube. And a big shout and thank you to all the patrons over patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy and the YouTube members. But thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.